Hi, welcome to Mindful Clo. My name is Claudia and I'm a psychotherapist, and this is my first video ever, so please be easy on me. And today we want to talk about self-love, which I think everyone needs, and I think a lot of people don't know what it is, or they don't know how to love themselves, and that's why we're here today. And before we kind of dive into self-love, I kind of wanted to briefly talk about what a lack of self-love looks like, because it's something that I've seen a lot in my clients and in myself. And I think that a lack of self-love can show up when you're really highly critical about yourself, when you engage in negative self-talk or perfectionism, or you constantly compare yourself to other people. And today I brought a special guest, my really good friend Alex, and we're both going to kind of have a conversation about self-love and explain our own experiences with it.
Hello.
Thanks for coming here today.
Yeah.
Hey Alex, thank you so much for coming here today. I'm so excited to do this podcast with you and hear your perspective about self-love, which has been really instrumental in my journey to becoming the best version of myself, and I think it's been the same for you as well. So I wanted to hear a little bit about your perspective on self-love and what it means to you.
Well, I'm really happy to be here. This is such an important subject because I feel like everyone is always looking for love, but they don't realize that it's really within themselves, and it's tuning in with that voice inside of you and knowing your values and acting accordingly, and recognizing your wants from your needs. Like, for example, it's really difficult to get out of bed sometimes, but you know that you need to prioritize like your career, who you want to become. So you have to push yourself out. You can't just stay there stuck all day. Or, for example, I struggled a lot with weed addiction. I was smoking a lot every single day because I wanted to numb myself out, numb all those all that anxiety of not being who I was supposed to be. So yeah, and then one day I realized that it wasn't serving me, and it was better to just stop smoking and focusing on what I should be doing.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And it sounds like for you, making those decisions was to align with the best version of yourself, so you can become who you truly are, and that real version of yourself. And maybe the smoking was kind of, like you said, numbing the emotions or the negative thoughts and emotions that you were feeling, and you finally decided to take that step forward. And I think that's really inspiring. Yeah. I think that self-love is about accepting yourself fully for who you are. And I think it's so easy to give love to other people. I don't know about you, but I find that really easy to see the good in other people and to love other people. And then when it comes to ourselves, it's much easier to be really hard on ourselves and to kind of be critical about ourselves, and to kind of remember the negative experiences over the positive ones. And I think that our brain is kind of wired, or some people's brain are wired to kind of see more the negative than the positive. And that's why I think self-love is a practice, and it's not a destination. It's something you need to constantly practice every day. A little bit, like you said, with the choices, the daily choices that you make every single day. So yeah, for me, self-love is about accepting myself for who I am fully, all parts of myself, the good parts, the bad parts, the ugly ones, the beautiful ones, everything. And giving that love, that respect, that compassion that I would give you, for example, one of my best friends. It's so easy to love you and to see all the good in you, and sometimes it's harder to see that in ourselves. So I think that self-love is about treating yourself how you would treat your loved ones. which I think is like not easy to do every day, and that's why I think self-love is like a practice. And you know, I've seen a lot of like lack of self-love in my clients, and sometimes it looks like being really, really hard on yourself, like chasing perfectionism, or like even with body image. Like I've seen a lot of that with women. It's like constantly comparing yourself instead of like accepting yourself for who you are right now in this moment. Because I think we like chase a lot. We're constantly chasing for like perfectionism, or like we're like, if I do this, I'm gonna feel good about myself. If I get into a relationship, then like I'm gonna feel better. And it's like constantly chasing like externally for that love or like that validation. And really, but like you have all that love within yourself, and you just need to learn how to give that love to yourself, that respect, that compassion. And I think like for me, that's how I learned to like love myself, is by realizing that, wait a minute, like I don't need to like find that love externally, or like that validation or that admiration. Like I need to start doing that with myself. Like I'm the love of my life, basically.
Yeah, because you're the only one who knows yourself as deeply as you do.
Exactly.
And sometimes I feel like you can spiral into just like watching everything you do too closely, magnifying things, dramatizing it, overanalyzing it, overthinking, and you're forgetting to take it all in. Like you're not just this one thought of yourself or this one opinion that somebody said. You're much more than that, and that's really like self-love, like really seeing the whole portrait of who you are and just putting all your love into it.
Absolutely. I think like knowing who you are, I think like you said, like we know exactly who we are, and sometimes we kind of like internalize all the negative experiences or voices or things outside of us, and then we think that's who we are, and we think that like we're negative thoughts sometimes, but like you're not your thoughts, and you're not what anyone says about you. Like you know who you are deep down. And I think like self-love is also about knowing yourself and like accepting yourself right now, while also like acknowledging who you want to become. And then like you said, taking those actions every day that are aligned with like the version of yourself you want to be, because we are like the creator of our world. Like we do create our reality, and I think sometimes people forget that. Like they kind of are stuck in like a cycle where really like we create a reality based on like the decisions we make every day. And in order to make those decisions, you have to be aligned with yourself and like know who you are. And I think self-love is like a really big part of all of that.
Yeah, because when you're disconnected from your body, you're not really fully there to take those decisions.
Yeah. And like, I know we had talked a little bit about this before, but like, yeah, how do you kind of like differentiate like who you want to be or who you are from like being authentic versus like who you think you should be, or like what other people think you should be, or how other people view you? Like how do you start knowing like who you truly are as a person? Do you know what I mean? I feel like my question's a little bit vague.
Well, growing up, I remember I wanted to be like an engineer because of my dad and my mother. They used to always tell me that I should excel at school, and that's what I did. And I thought like that was the way to get love from my parents, to always over excel and exceed their expectations. And I remember when I got to Cégep and I was in chimie, it's like there was something deep inside of me telling me like, this is boring. This is not for me.
You're like, fuck that.
Yeah, my brain was altering at the moment. I was discovering that I liked video editing more, and instead of like, fulfilling that fantasy of my parents, I just decided to do my thing.
Wow.
Go be on my own and figure it out as I go, trusting that I that voice was gonna be in me, always telling me what to do.
Yeah. So you were able to like listen to that voice early on. I'm sure it wasn't easy to take those decisions and those steps because it was kind of like not necessarily aligned with like what your parents wanted, but it was aligned with what your intuition and what you felt was best for you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you're still doing that to this day, like making those decisions that are like aligned with your intuition in a way.
Yeah, because every time that you listen to it, you get pulled closer to it.
Yeah.
So you hear it more loudly. But I feel like when you're disconnected from yourself, you're numbing like your thoughts, you're numbing like these emotions in you.
Yeah.
You're like really pulling yourself away from your body. So you're not really
Absolutely.
making the best decisions that serve you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's so important. And I think like, I don't know about you, but like for me, especially like recently, what's really helped me kind of like connect with myself more and like really like listen more to my intuition and kind of like make the right decisions that are aligned with like my highest self is to really reflect. And I think like people do this in different ways, but like for me it's been like meditating and like journaling, and I guess like even like talking with my friends and like surrounding myself with people who I feel like I can leave a conversation and feel like, oh wow, like I feel better, like I feel good, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or like doing the things that like make me feel fulfilled, like going out, drinking and all that, like it's just like it doesn't align with like who I am anymore, and like that's not where I find like fulfillment. So I guess like making those decisions, reflecting, surrounding myself with the right people, meditating has all like helped me connect with like my highest self, and then like making the right decisions every day. It's also like getting me closer to that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Ever since I've gotten to know you, I feel like there's this glowing energy around you that's just growing and growing. I find that very inspiring, so I'm happy we're talking about this today.
Oh, so sweet. Why do you think it's so hard to find validation and love from within instead of from others?
Why is it so hard?
Yeah, like why is it so hard to like find love and like validation from ourselves? Like why do we constantly chase that externally? Like why are we constantly like, I don't know, sometimes I've looked for relationships before to like feel something inside me that was lacking. Like why is it so hard to like find it from within, you think?
I think it's all in how you talk to yourself. If you're constantly like giving into negative thoughts,
Yeah.
and letting your mind go there instead of taking a minute to be like, that's only a thought,
Yeah.
then you're constantly giving into these patterns, and you might end up like wanting someone who says otherwise, even if they don't mean it. Just because you want to hear it. You want to hear anything but what you think of yourself.
Whoa, that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about it like that. Yeah, I
So-
guess like when you're kind of like disconnected from yourself and you like kind of like you're like kind of stuck in these patterns of like negative thoughts, or like chasing like externally, or being like, if I do this I'm gonna feel good about myself, if I accomplish this then I'll feel good about myself, and you're like, I guess like you end up in like maybe with people who aren't like the best for you in a way.
No, and also like people recognize that, like it's not only in the way that you talk down about yourself, it's also in the actions. Like
Yeah.
if you're not fulfilling your word, if you're not like prioritizing everything that you should be doing, then people are gonna see that and they're gonna try to like manipulate you into doing what they want you to do.
Yeah. think I've definitely been there.
Because they'll see that you're not like putting yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something like they can be powerful. It is powerful to like be fully firm in who you are. But if there's like space there for manipulation in your head, when you're like people can recognize that you get in your head easily,
Yeah,
then
definitely. And I think that's like just like a really good place to like get into like self-love and like relationships. And I think like your level of self-love kind of dictates like what kind of relationship you get into. You know what I mean? Like if like for instance you're like really lacking self-love, then I think like you'll get that same kind of love like in the relationship you're in or in the relationships like you seek. Because like it's like a mirror. Like a relationship's like a mirror of like your own self-love and like how your own self-worth and like how you see yourself in a way.
mm-hmm.
So I think like until you can fully love yourself, which I think like it's not a destination, I think it's like more of like a practice, but yeah, you're not gonna get like the love you deserve in a way.
It's like RuPaul always
Yeah.
says in every episode, if
Yeah.
you can't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love somebody else?
Yeah.
Can I get an amen up in here?
Yeah. It's so true though.
It is very true. I ended up in really, really bad relationships when I thought I knew how to love myself, but in reality, I kept looking at myself without makeup and thinking, I don't look like the girls on Instagram. And then if my boyfriend gave me like a little compliment and told me that I looked super beautiful the way that I was, all natural, then I would believe it because somebody else told me.
Wow, that's so deep.
But if society is telling me, like, society is getting to my head and I'm thinking, like, I should be this way, I should be that way, and I'm constantly talking to myself that way, then as soon as I get an opinion of somebody else, I'm going to want to absorb that and hold on to that. But as long as if I don't change that, if I don't change that belief system, it's never going to grow into love.
Oh my god, yeah. Changing that belief system, I feel like that's huge. Like you said, there's a difference between like external validation, external love, when like someone gives you a compliment, it feels really good to like your ego in like the short term, and then you need more of it and more of it because like deep down you don't even believe that about yourself. And if you don't believe that about yourself, then like other people are just like feeding your ego and like you're just gonna need more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like until you change that belief about yourself, like I accept myself just the way I am right now without makeup, like I'm not perfect and like that's okay, you know? And like really believing in that you do accept and love yourself the way you look, like you're constantly going to be chasing for like external validation, whether it's like on social media or if it's from like people outside of you, and like you're just going to feel miserable. And I've seen that in my clients too.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, and in myself.
It's really catching yourself in those moments, like in recognizing, that's something else that someone has told me, that's not really what I believe in myself.
I want to talk about like the inner critic inside of us and like learning how to like accept yourself like as is, like fully accept yourself, even if it's not like your ideal, you know? Like how have you, I think like a really common like negative belief that people have is like that they're not enough like right now as they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like they constantly need to chase something, like they need to like get their nose done, or like they need to like get that promotion and then they'll feel good, and like they're constantly chasing something. And I think like it's amazing to have goals, like it's amazing to like, you know, if you do want to change something about the way you look because it's going to make you more confident, like I totally support that. But it's like, are you accepting yourself right now? I think that's the biggest difference. It's like, or are you like, I really hate myself right now, and if I do X, Y, Z, then I'll feel good about myself. Because that's like a never-ending cycle of like a negative patterns of like constantly chasing perfectionism and constantly chasing something outside because you're not accepting yourself right now as you are.
Yeah. And I think the best way to do that is to stay in the present.
Yeah.
Like, it's good to think about your past and think about the lessons you've learned. That doesn't define you either, neither your future.
Yeah.
It's good to have goals, to have ambition, but what really matters is the present.
Yeah.
And you have to take it fully in and be like there for every moment if you want to be there for yourself.
Wow, that's so well said. I couldn't agree more. And like that's like kind of my approach to like in therapy. It's like teaching my clients and also learning that myself to live more in the present moment and like bringing your attention to the present moment, because like you said, like you're never gonna get this moment again.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think one of my like favorite quotes, it's like funny, it's like, this is the youngest you'll ever be, like right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like think about that, isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? Like you'll never be this young again. Like 5 seconds ago that was the youngest you'll ever be. It's like you're constantly chasing and like thinking about the past or the future, but you're like missing out on like this present moment, which is like a gift. You know, like us right now talking here.
Yeah.
It's a really special moment.
Yeah, so our time is very valuable, and why try to be something else that you're not right now? You're right here in this body. Why are you constantly thinking about what you should be?
Exactly. I mean,
that doesn't serve you either.
It doesn't. It's not about what you should be, it's about who you want to become. I think that's a good way to look at it. Or who you want to be, and then acting accordingly. But like if you think like, oh, I should be this, that, or like I should be this way, it's like you're missing out on like who you are right now, and who you are right now is freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And like I tell my clients a lot, because in therapy, like we do a lot of like identifying the beliefs and the thoughts and all that, but I think that like in the end, like it's just about remembering that like your thoughts don't define you at all, and like just like learning to like you said, like bring your attention back to like the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now. Like if you have like a negative thought that's like pops up, like instead of like feeding into that thought and then going into like a negative spiral of like negative thoughts, you instead just like be like, actually I'm gonna bring my attention back to whatever I'm doing right now. And it's like a conscious choice to do that. And it's not easy, but the more you practice it, like the easier it becomes.
That's why it's important to get to the practices that help you with your inner voice. And I know you're really good at that. You started meditating every day, journaling. Those are really, really important moments, because you're just focusing on that voice inside of you.
Yeah, and it's like, that's so true. And I mean, for me, it's been meditating, it's been like completely life-changing for me to meditate, because it's like when I feel like most at like peace and it's like quiet, and then it's like I get to like just observe kind of my thoughts, but like I make a conscious choice to be like fully in the present moment and just kind of like breathing, and it's like it's so special. But I know that for some people it's harder to meditate, or like, you know, they have other ways of like connecting with themselves. So for you, what is it? What do you do to kind of reconnect with like your inner self and like your authentic self?
So around the time that I realized that the career I was choosing was mostly for my parents, I had started video editing, but I had also started writing, and writing it all out and writing what my inspirations or what my intentions were for this world really helped me figure out what I wanted to be, who I wanted to become. Another thing is exercising. Since I've been a kid, like just doing those big inhales and exhales as you run, that really brings me back to my body. Even though it's hurting, it feels good.
Absolutely.
So I feel like self-love has been a lot about taking care of my body, and that is including your mental health. So taking time to meditate while you're in the bath, or journal when you're feeling like all these emotions, like angry emotions, anxiety. It's just letting it out instead of like internalizing it. Yeah.
Wow, that is so important. Yeah, so it's like, I like how you said, like, even like, I mean, yeah, using those tools of like journaling, writing, exercising, and like you mentioned, like even when you are exercising, you're almost meditating, because you're fully bringing your awareness to the present moment, and you're not like in your head, like in that negative narrative or like that negative self-talk. You are fully in the present. You're focusing on your breathing. You're connecting your body to your mind. And I think like doing that versus like going to the gym and like doing the everyday motion like a robot, and you're like fully in your head, like criticizing yourself or being like, I shouldn't be this, I should be this, like I'm this, I'm that. Like no, like you're connecting like your breath to your movement, to your mind, to your body, and you're like fully in the moment. And I think that's like really special. And that's what makes a difference between like a conscious like workout versus like a workout where you're like in your head like spiraling.
Or you're only like,
you know what I mean?
Pursuing a certain image of yourself.
Oh my god, yeah, exactly. Like you're like going to the gym because you're like, I want to lose like 10 pounds. Like it's okay to want to lose weight, like, but also like what are your intentions behind going to the gym? Like I think being intentional about what you do and like knowing the intentions behind why you're doing things is like so important. Like, and like I've explored that with my clients, like, because if you're every day you're like going to the gym with the only goal is to lose weight, okay, you're gonna lose weight, and then what? Like, you know, like if that's your only intention behind it.
I have a really good example.
Yeah, tell me.
About the gym. Like, I feel like everybody's chasing this image of themselves, which is good. I mean, you should aspire to be who you want to be. I want to be lean. I want to be healthy inside of me.
See, those are good intentions though. Like,
yeah.
I want to be healthy. I want to be lean. I want to be healthy. I want to take care of my body.
I want my heart to feel good for a long time, and I feel like that can quickly turn into something else. Like there has been moments where at the gym I'm just ego lifting. I want my booty to look big.
Yeah.
I'm not really warming up like well. I'm just rushing through because I'm like pursuing that image so badly instead of being like intentional and realizing that the gym is like about connecting to your muscles, connecting to your body. And that led to injuries, that led to hurting myself. But if you're there and you're actually like doing the breath work, connecting with your body, warming up well, like taking care of yourself well, then you're gonna get the best gains that way.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think you would know because like you've been working out for such a long time, and the gains are clearly working. So.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't think that like, I mean, I used to like go to the gym and be like, I want to lose 1,000 calories today. I mean, that is so toxic.
No.
I used to be like, I'm gonna go to the gym, lose 1,000 calories so I can eat like more. And like, I think that's like just so toxic.
Oh yeah.
Like now I'm like, I just want to move my body, like whether it be like going on a hike today, or like I'm gonna go snowboarding, or like I'm gonna go to the gym with my best friend and we're gonna like work out like lower body, and like we're just like fully, like when we're doing the movements, we're not like rushing, we're like really connecting with our bodies and like just listening to ourselves and what we feel like doing in the moment. I don't know, it's just like being intuitive and in tune with yourself. It's just like you live like so differently than like when you're just kind of like chasing something.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like there's days that you and I have been like, fuck the gym, we're too tired.
Yeah.
But we ended up having like the best conversations when we're walks and it ended up being super therapeutic. Meanwhile, if we had forced ourselves to go to the gym, we might have ended up with like an injury or a sore muscle. It's not supposed to happen, you know? So how did you discover self-love?
So, I mean, I've never really thought about self-love. Like a couple years ago, if you asked me what's self-love, I'd be like, I don't know. Like I'd be like, I don't really know what that is. But basically, I think my journey to becoming like a psychotherapist, I met this professor and she was like a guide for me, like almost like a guru. We started doing like work like outside of like the classes, and we would do like these monthly like roundtable discussions about like really deep topics, like self-love, for example. And she told me multiple times, she's like, you need to go to Buddhist temple and like reflect. And I'm like, Buddhist temple? Like, okay. Like, and I'm like looking up on Google like Buddhist temple near me in Montreal, and I'm like, this is so strange. But okay. And then like I never ended up like doing it because I was like, that's just whatever. I was like, gave up on it and didn't really like go back to it. And then last summer, I was like on a trip to Asia, the craziest trip ever. And naturally I was like visiting so many different temples in like Japan especially, and like Indonesia too, but I think the ones in Japan were like the ones that like really awakened something inside me. Like I visited like maybe like 6 different temples, and I remember I had a lot of time to like reflect on myself. And I also went to one of them and I asked for like fortune. So like you can ask for your fortune at the temple. So you ask for like a question, and I was like, I want to find love. Because at that time I really was like wanting a relationship, and I wanted to like be loved by someone, because I just felt like I would feel complete if I found that love. Like that would like make me feel good and like complete, and like I needed that in my life. Like I needed a partner, I needed like a soulmate, the love of my life. And so I asked for that, and I got bad fortune. And I was like, oh my god, like I'm never gonna find love, like. And then I started like spiraling. I'm like, okay, bad fortune, like try to forget about it and everything. And then I like really thought about it, like really reflected on that, on like that bad fortune, and like, okay, why am I getting bad fortune? Like maybe I'm not meant to find a soulmate, like all this stuff. And I realized like that I didn't love myself enough. And like, I mean, that was like one thing, but like the other thing was like my coach. Like I had this coach that I had found on TikTok. Like I was literally scrolling, and then this coach, she's like a manifestation coach, like, and I found her on TikTok, and she kept telling me in her session, she's like, you need to put yourself on a pedestal, you need to love yourself. She kept repeating that to me, and I'm like, what the hell, like I don't know how to do that. So like through her telling me that, and like my other professor telling me to go to like Buddhist temple, and then getting bad fortune, and then like spending a lot of time like reflecting on that, I was like, wow, it's because like I don't love myself enough, and like I need to find that love from within, not externally. Like I need to accept myself how I am right now in this moment. Like I'm just enough as I am right now. Like I am enough right now, and like I need to learn how to accept, love myself, and like every part of myself. What would you say to your younger self about self-love?
Ooh, but it's a constant, I wouldn't say battle, but it's a constant decision you have to make for yourself every day. You can't just be like, oh, I love myself today, and then tomorrow, like, I hate myself, I'm gonna listen to what everybody's saying. You have to like practice that battle in your head.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Mm-hmm.
It's an everyday practice to love yourself and to choose love over fear,
Over hate.
over fear, hate, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like it was so abnormal, or just that it was probably not self-love to go to those constant like emotions, the waves of life, you know? I felt like if I wasn't happy all the time, then I probably wasn't happy, but you can't stay in a constant.
Yeah. I think you need to embrace like the ups and downs, because that's just like what life is about. It's about like ups and downs. Like you can either stay here all the time, or if you go up, you're gonna go down. It's just like how life works.
Yeah.
So you just gotta embrace it and just like accept yourself through all of it and love yourself. No matter where you are right now, where you're at in your life. Have some grace for yourself, some compassion, some love.
Is there something else you would tell your younger child?
My younger self,
Your younger self.
I would tell them that you are just enough as you are. Like right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're perfect. You're perfect, you know? No one's perfect. But like, you know what I mean? Like you're okay. Like you're good.
Yeah.
That's it, pretty much. Yeah, that's what I would tell my younger self.
I think it's nice to. I mean, there's this saying that I've been telling myself since I've been on this journey of self-love, and it's be the person that you needed when you were younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. Be your like best cheerleader. Be your biggest supporter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I love that. Completely agree. And I think I guess this is like a good place to kind of end the podcast for today, and I encourage you, if you're watching this, to reflect on your self-love and where you're at right now with it, and hopefully do some journaling and reflecting on that, and see how you can love yourself more and take those actions every day and live in the present moment more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really happy we did this today on such a snowy spring day.
Yeah, so weird. Snowing in April.
Mm.